Hi. A lot of people are looking to switch from Windows to Linux. And there's many different flavors of Linux. But I thought I would do a video showing how to install one, and then maybe I'll do another one later. Behind me is my subject, this laptop I bought at Walmart like several years ago. Don't buy laptops at Walmart. Don't buy anything at Walmart. Don't go to Walmart. But that's where it came from. It's got an Intel CPU and an NVIDIA GPU, which is probably not the best. You probably want AMD for Linux because they have open source drivers, and so it's generally easier to support them. This laptop currently has Arch Linux installed on it. It came with some version of Windows, probably 10, and it's currently got Arch Linux. So I'm not going to be overwriting a Windows installation. I thought about it. I've got I've got a Windows installation. I've already activated that copy of Windows, so I can't reuse the product key, so it would be an unactive copy I'd be switching from anyway. I don't know how much that would affect things. And these instructions for Linux Mint should tell us like what to do. So if we click the download button, it takes us to this screen. Ready to download. Linux Mint is available in different flavors. Choose an edition below. For more information, read the installation instructions. And this is part of the problem, I guess, with switching to Linux, or part of the valid concerns, is that how do you know which one to get? Well, you don't. But the good news is they're all free, so just try them. Just try one that looks like you might like it, and if you don't, well, try a different one. But it can be frustrating to go through the whole process of like troubleshooting an installation, then to not enjoy it at all and be faced with the prospect of doing that again for a different one. But like, it's not really that bad. I guess I can't say for everybody, but the basic concept is that you'll install, you'll put an ISO onto a USB drive. An ISO is just a file. But we're going to flash that file to the USB drive instead of just like dragging it on there normally. That way the USB drive will function as a live boot media. So when it's plugged into the laptop and I turn the laptop on, it should be able to read the Linux Mint installation. This flash drive is 4 gigabytes, and I think you need 2 to 4 for this. There are smaller versions of Linux. So, as far as choosing the right edition, they only have, well, I say they have 3 different ones to look at. They have the Cinnamon edition. Alternatives include an XFCE edition, which is the desktop environment that I'm using here on Arch. But sometimes I also use like GNOME and KDE applications. Like, I don't know how much you'll be limited if you picked this version over the Cinnamon version. And I actually don't have much experience with Linux Mint at all. I may have tried it once, but I don't remember. And then there's the Mate edition, which has GNOME. And so these different things I keep referring to, GNOME, KDE, XFCE, those are the desktop environments. So regardless of which underlying operating system you have, which is like Arch or Mint, on top of that, you're going to be using one of these common packages to represent your file system to you in a way that's more familiar to Windows users. But yeah, I went ahead and did the download already. It's a little bit less than 3 gigabytes, so you'll probably want a 4 gig USB drive. And per the instructions, so this is the Linux Mint installation guide we got there from these installation instructions. The website is very nicely laid out, easy to navigate. Linux Mint comes in the form of an ISO image, a .iso file, which can be used to make a bootable DVD or a bootable USB stick. This guide will help you download the right ISO image, create your bootable media, and install Linux Mint on your computer. So choose the right edition. We went ahead and did Cinnamon, the most modern, innovative, and full-featured desktop, made for a more traditional, faster desktop, and XFCE for the most lightweight. The most popular version of Linux Mint is the Cinnamon edition. Cinnamon is primarily developed for and by Linux Mint. It is slick, beautiful, and full of new features. Linux Mint is also involved in the development of Mate, a classic desktop environment which is the continuation of GNOME 2, Linux Mint's default desktop between 2006 and 2011. Although it misses a few features and its development is slower than Cinnamon's, Mate uses less resources and can run faster on older computers. XFCE is a lightweight desktop environment. It doesn't support as many features as Cinnamon or Mate, but it's extremely stable and very light on resource usage. If you are unsure which desktop to choose, start with the Cinnamon edition. Try them all eventually when you have the time. I don't think anyone has that kind of time today. All 3 of them have their own audience within the Linux Mint community, and they're all very popular. Okay, well, you're a biased source, though, pets. But from what I understand, it is pretty popular. It seems like it's easy to use. I just can't vouch for it personally. I haven't really tried it out. So from version 20 onward, it's only 64-bit. The 32-bit ISO images on prior versions are provided for compatibility with older computers. 32-bit processors are extremely rare nowadays, and most computers are able to run in 64-bit. If your computer was manufactured after 2007, you probably have a 64-bit processor. So yeah, we went with the 64-bit Cinnamon Edition ISO file. And after downloading that, well, actually, I could show you what it's like to download it to. Size 3 gigs, installation guide. There's several ways you can get it. You could get it through a torrent, which is nice because then you can seed it back to other people. I did not do that. I went ahead and did Hoobly. I didn't do Hoobly. I did Linux Freedom, is the one I went through. So I click on the mirror, whichever one you pick. They all look a little different. This one has me, you can't see it, but it popped up a file window that's asking you where I want to save the ISO. I already downloaded those, so I'm going to click cancel on that. And then there's a little bit more that we want from here, because it gave us the ISO straight away, but we're also going to want this sum file so that we can verify that this 3 gigabyte ISO file that we're planning on putting on a flash drive and inserting into our computer is in fact the file that we expect it to be and not something else. So make sure you grab this SHA-256 sum file along with the 3 gigabyte download. And this one is very small. It's just a little teeny tiny text file. And in fact, I can show you mine. Right, so if I cat, which stands for concatenate, the contents of the text file, mint-sha256sum.txt, but you could also just open it up in Notepad, and it shows you the checksum, which is basically like a code that represents this specific file here. And these are the ones in the text file that came from the mirror, the website that had the download, the ISO download. And so basically the place I downloaded the ISO from is telling me this should be the code that you get when you verify the file yourself. Because there's a command I can run, and this is all in the instructions. Yeah, the authenticity check confirms that the ISO image you downloaded was signed by Linux Mint, and thus that it isn't a modified or malicious copy made by somebody else. It says there was a GPG file. I did not get that. And so then for the integrity check, since I'm on Linux, I run a command like this, SHA-256 sum-b, and it generates the hash or the checksum for that file. And we can see that it matches. We got 759C, 759C. And that's our version. That's Cinnamon 64 that we picked out. So far so good. Everything's matching. If you are using Windows, follow the tutorial how to verify the ISO image on Windows. And this takes us to a forum. It is still on the linuxmint.com domain. First, follow the steps in the preparation section of the verify page for the version you downloaded. It is essential that at step 3 you follow the instruction to right-click the links and select to save as. Exact wording varies depending on your browser, e.g. save link as in Chrome and Firefox. Left-clicking the files and saving the contents in other ways will lead to authentication failure. Note that it does not matter where exactly you put the files as long as they are all in the same folder and keep their original names. Then browse to the download index from NewPG. Oh, this is another, a different program, and download and install the Windows installer for NewPG. NewPG, also known as GPG, is a command line tool with features for easy integration with other applications. Because I'm not on Windows, but here we go. Scroll down past all the all the source code releases, and we find the binary releases. This is where you can get GPG for Win, full-featured Windows version of NewPG, or you can get the simple installer, which seemed to be the one that they're pointing to on this forum post. So you download and install GPG, and so then they'll have you hold shift while right-clicking on the folder that you downloaded the files into and open a command window here, but it might also be a PowerShell window. Use whichever you've got available, but if you use the PowerShell option, then type CMD followed by enter, and that'll take you to a command prompt within the PowerShell window. And then the integrity check, type this command into the command window while replacing the filename.iso part with the actual name of the ISO file you downloaded. You'd use certutil-hash file, and then instead of filename.iso, the actual file name, SHA-256, because that's just the type of encryption that we're using, I think. Note that if you start typing a file name, you can press tab to automatically complete it. Press enter to run the command. This will take a little while to complete and eventually present you with an alphanumeric sequence that is called a hash. If this hash is identical to the one listed in your text file, then the integrity check passed. You can compare them by hand. Note that some Windows text editors will not display the line breaks in that document, so it may look weirdly formatted. Or better, use the find command. Here's a screenshot of the complete sequence of commands. Don't mind the folder location on my system. So they did cert util -hash file linux mint cinnamon 64bit.iso sha256, and it tells them the hash bb4b 380 etc. Command completed successfully. And then they use the find command to find that same string. I assume they copy and pasted it rather than typing all that out in that text file, and it says it's there. It shows the whole line. On older versions of Windows, you might not have the cert util command, and then you can use the 7-zip archiver, which is another free program. Find and right-click the ISO file you're downloaded in Windows Explorer and select 7-zip CRC SHA option to calculate the SHA-256 hash, which must then compare to one from the text file yourself. Never install from an ISO that failed the integrity check. So that was the integrity check. That's making sure that the file is the same data. Then the authenticity check, they're using GPG, specifying a key server. I didn't think I needed to do that myself, because I didn't get this GPG file. Oh, here it is. So there's the public GPG, PGP. Oh my god, is it GPG or PGP? GPG. GPG has the PGP keys? Who the fuck is naming this shit? Okay, well the good news is I probably have GPG, because I'm on Linux. I just go burp, burp, burp. Go ahead and type your message. Quit. Exit. Stop. End. Alright, we'll just break out of there. So yes, we have GPG. That's good. Import the Linux Mint signing key. Alright. Because all it's doing is GPG specifying the key server set to receive the key from Linux Mint. Imported. Processed, imported. Great. Unknown Linux Mint ISO signing key root at linuxmint.com. Now we verify the authenticity of the checksum file. Yeah, that's what the sum is for, checksum. This GPG verify GPG file. Warning, this key is not certified with a trusted signature. There is no indication that the signature belongs to the owner, but it does say good signature from Linux Mint ISO signing key. GPG might warn you that the Linux Mint signature is not trusted by your computer, and this is expected and perfectly normal. Cool. Alright, well, we verified the integrity and the authenticity. We did not get a bad signature, so that's good. The warning after that is expected and perfectly normal. Finally, if your ISO has passed both the integrity and the authenticity checks, you can use it to create an installation medium now. We used GPG to verify the authenticity, and we used SHA-256 sum to verify the integrity. Now we can use that ISO to create a bootable media. There's my USB drive. This will be my bootable media. This little pink thumb drive that I've had since college, I think. It's 4 gigs, which is big enough. Slot that in there. And if you're already in Linux Mint, you can make the bootable USB stick, but I'm not. I'm on another Linux distribution. If you're on Windows, they recommend Etcher. They actually recommend Etcher for all operating systems. I don't have Etcher. I don't really. It's an open source project. Oh, okay, nice. I've never used it myself. What I've got instead is called ISO Image Writer, and it's very simple. Very, very simple. All I gotta do is select the ISO, which is my Linux Mint, Cinnamon 64-bit, etc. Select my USB drive, which is that cruiser. Could not find the key to verify. That's okay, I already did that part myself. Create. Everything on the USB drive will be overwritten. Do you want to continue? I do. I think I've got a USB 3.0 port there. 2.0? It's the one with the blue inside. Yeah, it might take a while. Oh, it's an entire operating system. And we're putting on this little thumb drive. This is where we sit and think about our life choices, all the mistakes that brought us here. But I assume if you were using Etcher, it would be pretty much the same story. You would select the ISO image that you downloaded, you would select your thumb drive, and you would go flash, and it would flash the ISO to the thumb drive, obliterating anything that was on there before, so make sure it's not a thumb drive with anything important on it. Optical discs are slow, and burning to disk is prone to errors, but you can still do it. I don't have a CD-ROM drive, I don't have a DVD drive. I recommend taking your time when you can. I think that's, kind of the root of all the problems, is that we don't have enough time to do everything that we want, and I don't mean that in like a selfish, wantful way. I mean, we don't have enough we don't have the time that we need to ourselves to be like healthy people, because someone keeps making us fight just to survive, and they keep ratcheting the requirements more and more and more. Just whatever anyone is willing to do. That now becomes the minimum to do to survive. And like almost done creating the USB drive. And so even though I'm running XFCE4 as my desktop environment on Arch Linux, you see that this image writer that I'm using, it's KDE. Well, yeah, I could basically run whatever. I can run KDE, I can run Wayland, I think, I can run GNOME. Like, I've got applications from all the different desktop environments here, and other developers have done the really hard work of making them all compatible and just running right out of the box for me. Like, your live USB flash drive is now complete and ready to use. Boot Linux Mint. Now that you have Linux Mint on a USB stick or DVD, boot the computer from it. Insert your USB stick or DVD into the computer, restart the computer. Before your computer boots your current operating system, Windows, Mac, Linux, you should see your BIOS loading screen. Check the screen or your computer's documentation to know which key to press and instruct your computer to boot on USB or DVD. So yeah, if you've never gotten into your computer's BIOS before, it can be a process. It can be annoying, especially on laptops. Sometimes I have to look up like what key, because like, depending on the monitor, the way that the display is hooked up and everything, sometimes it'll tell you on the screen, like, press delete to enter BIOS now. But you don't actually see that because, like, it hasn't started rendering the screen yet. And then by the time it does render, that thing is gone. So sometimes you just gotta, like, blindly press a key that you hope is the right one. And it's fine if you just spam it over and over again. Like, I don't think that has a negative impact on any of these, but it's kind of like scary and confusing because there's no feedback sometimes, and that's one of the worst, is when you're not even sure if you're doing the right thing or not. But we've got our stick. I'm gonna stick it in here. This one's my fast drive. This side's got the blue. Basically, this is my computer's BIOS. I took a picture of it with my phone because there's no way you can fucking see it from here. But it's pretty cool looking. It's got like blue and like retro text and shit, and like it's kind of scary because it's like, ooh, system data, system settings. But then we have the boot order and secure boot. Okay, so my secure boot is currently disabled. I could probably turn that on, but I'm not entirely sure how much it would take to make that work. I had issues with Secure Boot and some version of Linux, I don't remember which one, possibly Arch, when I was still on Windows, and it wasn't until I turned it off in the BIOS that I was able to load in more easily. There's probably a way to get it to work. I don't know how much it affects things. I don't know the risks and rewards. But for now, all I want to do is toggle the boot order so that the USB goes first. And once that's done, I'm going to save and exit. And then we got a little menu here, because we haven't actually installed Linux Mint yet, but we can run it from the USB drive. I'm guessing that's what the installation instructions will have me do, is just pick the first option there. Linux Mint ISO can be booted both in EFI or BIOS mode. In EFI mode, it shows a grub menu. In BIOS mode, it shows an ISO Linux menu. From one of these menus, press Enter to start Linux Mint from your USB stick or DVD. Little Linux Mint logo, I think. I think what it's doing is loading the entire operating system from the USB stick into RAM, but I might be wrong. Also, Linux is working, yay. We're not done, actually. We didn't install Linux Mint still. This is just running off the USB drive. There is one desktop icon here. It says Install Linux Mint. So I'm guessing if you click that, it will indeed install itself. But let's confirm with our installation guide here. When you boot the computer from the USB stick or DVD, Linux Mint starts a live session. It logs you in automatically as a user called Mint and shows you a desktop with the installer on it. A live session is similar to a normal session, i.e. to Linux Mint once it is permanently installed on the computer, but with the following exceptions. So if you think that you've installed Linux Mint but you're experiencing these issues, you might actually just be running the live session. The live session is slower. It's loaded from the portable media. Changes you make in the live session are not permanent. They are not written to the USB stick or DVD, and they do not impact the system installed by the installer. So like, I've still got Arch Linux on here for now. It hasn't been affected. Some applications work differently or not at all in the live session. The username for the live session is Mint. If asked for a password, just press Enter. To permanently install Linux Mint on your computer, double-click Install Linux Mint. Select your language. Beep, beep. You do not have to be a genius to do this. I don't know if I got my Wi-Fi password right. I might have to check it. I tried to remember it Oh shit, I might have got it. And then you have an option to install multimedia codecs or not. Let's see. The Wi-Fi, yep, I went ahead and connected to my Wi-Fi. If you are connected to the internet, take the box to install the multimedia codecs. You might as well, you probably need them. Render some websites, but also a lot of video formats. Choose an installation type. Yeah, I'll take those multimedia codecs. I'll go continue. Linux. Like, part of the hurdle, part of the challenge of switching operating systems is that you gotta set aside some time. You gotta set aside an unknown amount of time. And no one has that. Everyone's on very fixed schedules and everyone's already given as much as they can. But you know, I'm unemployed for over a year now, and I'm happy. I'm happy just sitting here letting the Linux do its thing. The stakes are low for me personally. I'm already dead. Woo! But if it ever finishes installing these multimedia codecs, then I'll get to choose the installation type next. And it looks like my options are install alongside Windows Boot Manager, so they might be able to help you get a dual boot going. Erase disk and install Linux Mint, which is what I'm going to be doing here, or something else. And it looks like they give you the tools to resize partitions and whatnot. It says you can install it alongside Windows Boot Manager, but you might actually need another hard drive for that. Or you would have had to install Windows at less than the full size of the hard drive, because I think Windows, the way that its Boot Manager works is that it basically allocates the entire disk or the entire partition, and it can't be shrunk. It can only be expanded. Well, it looks like we got our multimedia codecs installed, and so now it's telling me that this computer currently has Arch Linux on it. What would you like to do? I'm going to erase the disk and install Linux Mint. I'm basically going one-to-one for the installation guide here. Figure that's what most people will be doing. If Linux Mint is the only operating system you want to run on this computer and all data can be lost on the hard drive, choose Erase Disk and install Linux Mint. And I took a little look in there earlier. It was already clean because I had recently reinstalled Linux, because I had recently reinstalled Windows, because I was trying to get crowd control to work for Zelda races. But all that shit exploded, and maybe I'll get back to it later. I'm having fun in Spooky Month. Want to take a break from spooky games, which was me taking a break from Zelda, so that I could make this video. Because I see a lot of people want to switch to Linux, or at least express interest in it, and so I figured just showing how I install Linux might help somebody. It's not the hardest, it's not the easiest, it's a thing that takes some work, and it's not entirely on you. Like, you might feel stupid or frustrated for not getting things to work. Like, no. There's so many different components at play on such vastly different hardware, and, you know, every person is different. Like, it's almost miraculous when it works, because there is so much that can go wrong. Encrypt, the new Linux Mint installation for security, refers to full disk encryption. At this stage of the installation, your keyboard layout wasn't yet selected, so it is set to English US. If you decide to use this option, keep this in mind when entering a password. Note that there are issues with this option and some NVIDIA drivers. If you are new to Linux, use home directory encryption instead. You can select it later during the installation. I mean, this sounds like witchcraft to me. I don't think this is actually possible with most Windows installations, but maybe it is. If another operating system is present on the computer, the installer shows you an option to install Linux Mint alongside it. If you choose this option, the installer automatically resizes your existing operating system, makes room, and installs Linux Mint beside it. I don't understand how it could do that without being destructive. Kinda cool though. A boot menu is set up to choose between the two operating systems each time you start your computer. The Linux Mint operating system, without additional software or personal data, takes roughly 15 gigabytes, so you probably want at least 100 gigabytes on whatever system you're going to be running Linux Mint on. And then it'll have me select a time zone. So yeah, I'm going to erase disk and install Linux Mint. Here we go. If you continue, the changes listed below will be written to the disks. Warning, this will destroy all data on any partitions you have removed, as well as on the partitions that are going to be formatted. The partition tables of the following devices are changed. And it lists the device name of my hard drive in this laptop. The following partitions are going to be formatted. It's going to do partition 1 as ESP, partition 2 as ext4. Sounds good to me. I don't need to change anything there. It's just letting me know what it's doing. My name, Snoop Squeak. Computer's name, oh, it's got an auto one. Snoop Squeak-Nitro and 51, that's probably good. Pick a username, Snoop Squeak. Require my password to log in, that makes sense to me. Welcome and thank you for choosing Linux Mint. This slideshow will show you around while the system is being installed on your computer. Well, that's cool. You probably still can't see it, but I am going to go big screen. Now that. Browse the web. Be fast and safe. Be fast and safe on the web with Mozilla Firefox. Watch your favorite shows on Netflix and YouTube. Featured software and services, Firefox, Netflix, YouTube. Reading is hard. Okay, I've never been diagnosed with dyslexia. Spoonerisms are very common. It's easy to mix things up. It's easy to get things backwards. Listen to music. Enjoy your music, listen to podcasts and online radios. Spotify and Rhythmbox. Watch movies and videos. Enjoy a high-definition movie or a video with VLC and the media player. All modern codecs are supported. Celluloid, MPV, VLC. Manage your photos. Organize, enjoy, and share your photos. Export your albums to share them with friends and family. Featured software Pix, Drawing, GIMP, and Inkscape. Stay connected. Keep in touch with your friends and contacts by email, IRC, or on your favorite social networks. Linux Mint provides all you need here to interact with Skype, WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, Slack, Telegram, Viber, Discord, and many other networks. Be productive! Okay, we'll just skip this one. The joke is that I don't like being productive. Use LibreOffice to create professional documents, spreadsheets, and presentations that are fully compatible with Microsoft Office. Well, fully compatible until Microsoft says, nope, we're gonna break it on purpose because we hate you. Share printers or access them remotely. Install software. Browse through 30,000 free applications from the Software Manager. Enjoy screenshots and user reviews. Install software with one click of the mouse. Featured software Steam, Google Earth, Dropbox, Blender. Run Windows software. Install Wine and run Windows software on Linux Mint, or install VirtualBox and run Windows itself within Linux Mint. I will say, a lot of Windows programs don't work even with Wine, but it's worth trying. Some of them do. That's how I played Nosy. It worked really well. Customize your desktop. Make yourself at home and modify any aspect of your desktop. Choose from a large variety of themes, icons, and backgrounds. Linux Mint is open and easy to customize. Keep your system up to date. Receive fixes and security updates all in one place for the entire system, including the software you install. Find help. I get that one a lot. If you're curious about something, or if you're facing a problem, simply ask around. Oh, it's that easy! Wow! Linux Mint is one of the most popular desktop Linux distributions and used by millions of people. It comes with a user guide, a community website, a collection of tutorials, active forums, and chat rooms, and one of the most dynamic communities on the internet. Wow. I mean, again, biased source. It seems pretty slick. I'm impressed so far with all the things that it claims to support. This installation process has been very smooth and also very, transparent. It's like, hey, here's what we're doing. Want me to do something else? I'm like, no, that sounds good. You do you. Installation complete. Installation has finished. You can continue testing Linux Mint now, but until you restart the computer, any changes you make or documents you save will not be preserved. Now, what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to say continue testing, and I'm going to shut down the computer. That way I can take out the USB stick and restart it, and it should be using the Linux Mint that's inside for sure. Whereas if I just restart it now with the thing still plugged in, it might take me back to the live sessions. So I'm going to say continue testing, and from the power menu you can just shut her down. Please remove the installation medium, then press enter. Oh wow, so they actually accounted for that. Yeah, this one seems super beginner friendly, super friendly, user friendly. Let's get this out. Then press enter. So that shut it down like I asked it to. Now with the USB, the installation media out of there, we're going to turn it back on. And it should just boot straight into Mint, I think. Might have me press something. Welcome to Linux Mint. Welcome to your new operating system. This welcome screen will guide you through your first steps, show you how to find help and where to get more information about Linux Mint. On behalf of the development team and everyone involved in the project, we'd like to thank you for choosing Linux Mint. We'll hope you will enjoy using it as much as we enjoy working on it. Have a great time, and don't hesitate to send us your feedback. Desktop colors, and so they have all these different things. Like you could go through one by one and you could set your desktop colors, take system snapshots, set up like automatic backup. It's kind of cool that they have all these in here. They're all optional. You could also just ignore all this shit. It has a checkbox to show this dialog at startup, so you could do some of them today, some of them tomorrow, as long as it keeps popping up and reminding you, and then turn it off when you're done. Got documentation, it's got new features, forums, contributors, chat rooms. You know, it's an operating system. It looks really snazzy, like it's smooth as shit. But yeah, we got an operating system, we could do whatever we want. We're connected to the Wi-Fi, and super duper easy. Installed all the drivers or whatever it needed, and I'm on NVIDIA and Intel, but it seems to be working fine. But yeah, I guess that's it. We've installed Linux Mint. But it can be frustrating, especially when things don't go to plan and unexpected issues come up, and then you're wondering why no one else is having that issue, and it's like, well, a lot of people might have that issue, but in a different way. and be talking about it in a different way. And like, it's so hard to actually connect with people who are at your level and like looking at it from the same perspective as you. But I hope more people try more Linux variants. I'll probably make more videos like this. I think that open source software is the future. I think that we take all the power away from the greedy when we use open source stuff, because it's us working together, and no one gets to monopolize it, because like the code is there available to everyone. You make your own fork, you have that code. If anything happens to the original project, you have your own copy. You could do, I won't say anything with it because there are licenses and restrictions and things, but the spirit is that we're all working together to make things better for everyone. And that's absolutely something I want to be involved in. And something I want to encourage others to get involved in too. But I know Linux is scary. Linux is daunting. It has taken me years to become a Linux only guy. I was a Linux and Windows for a long time, and I was like Windows for work. And now it's like, well, no job, no need. I'm gonna ditch it and throw it right in the fucking garbage and embrace some different Linux flavors. And while I haven't used Mint much myself, it wasn't hard to set up, and I imagine it's pretty good. It seems like it's got everything you need. I don't know what all kinds of weird problems it might have. Every system almost has something weird, but like in terms of switching from Windows, I think it's a big upgrade just because it's not malware. But I hope it helps somebody. Thanks for watching.